Hello, welcome back to the table with me, Bob, for this unusually or maybe unseasonally sunny day. Here in my neck of the woods, I'm enjoying being able to look out the windows and see something other than clouds for once this season. I hope that is true for you where you are. Um, all right, here we are back at the table. So, what are we playing today? We are playing The Pursuit of Happiness. Pursuit of Happiness is one of my favorite games. It's not a new game, but I will say that Artipia, the publisher of this game, um, has taken very, very good care of this property. What I mean by that is they have continued to support The Pursuit of Happiness ever since it was published in 2015. Um, in a way that shows not just a dedication to the property, but also just an apparent love for this property and the quality that this board game has and brings to the community. So what I mean by that is they have not only continued to produce and release expansions, but also promos, which is all fine and good. But what I think I mean by that is the timing of them, the continued support over time, where they're offering those promos for sale regularly, globally. The expansion content is extremely well thought out, very well balanced. So the game continues to feel fresh and new, and it's almost 10 years old. At least the base game is almost 10 years old. They just recently get a crowdfunder for the big box, which I also now have, which essentially means I have everything. I don't not just essentially. I think I do have absolutely everything released for this game. Not always a good thing. Every time, whenever I hear that about a particular game, I always kind of grit my teeth a little because I often wonder, did they overbloat the game? Did they take it too far off of its mission? Is it now too unwieldy and difficult and hard to manage? It was. I will say it was because I am looking right now at the stack of disparate rule books that this game used to have, but with the big box edition, they went ahead and consolidated all of those rules, refined the language in those rules to just make it easier, cleaner, faster to learn, and kind of removed some of the more unnecessary rules in the game along the way, just to streamline things that much more. So that's what I'm talking about. They really take their time with The Pursuit of Happiness and add more and more to it, but only when it really adds a lot of gameplay value. So if you've never seen this game before, let me take you through it. It looks like a lot. There's a lot of color, which I think is lovely, but it can be overwhelming at first, I'm sure, as you're looking at the game, to kind of understand what you're even looking at. The whole idea with The Pursuit of Happiness is that you, the player, are playing a character, a person, who is going to go through their entire lives from their teenage years to their eventual death. And they're going to live a life throughout the process of playing this game. And what they do during that life, what they're able to accomplish during that life, entirely in your hands as the player. Who they are, who they're not, all depends on what you choose to do with your time in your life in this game. The Pursuit of Happiness is a wonderful analog for the realities that we all face. I'm looking right now for life goals. Okay, because, oh no, not life goals, childhood traits. That's what I'm looking for. There we are. Okay, because I made a decision that I should not have made, and I'm going to remake that decision with you here on stream, and I want to have the exact same decision. So hold on, I want to make sure I find the card that we had in front of us. Did I? It's okay if I didn't. It's fine. Oh, there it is. Okay, great. Okay, so I'll get to that in a minute. I just realized I hadn't pulled that card before stream, and I wanted to do that. So So anyway, back to it. So where we are is the game is built around what actions you take every round, like any game. You start out with essentially 6 blocks of time. And in your teen years, which is the first round of the game, and in fact, I can even show you. I got a handy dandy little pointer. Look at it. Isn't that fancy? So up here is our little round counter. And yeah, good. You can see that. So we start out in our teen years, and that's just the first round. But then you quickly move into early adulthood. And then you're an adult for 4 rounds. And then finally, you start to transition into old age. And the stressors of old age start to take hold, and you end up with more stress every round until eventually your body just can't take it anymore and you pass away. So what that means is, depending on how prepared you are that you make yourself by the time you reach old age, you will play more a variable number of rounds in old age. You may not have positioned yourself well from a stress perspective to take on additional stress, and you may not be able to survive these last 2 rounds of old age. You may only make it to this first one, right? It really just depends on how much stress you end up with by the time you reach old age, and how much you've managed that stress. And we'll get into how we manage that stress as we play. But that gives you an idea. So we have 1 round of teen years, 4 rounds or years, or not years, but 4 sections of adult life, followed by up to 3 of old age. So we'll see how far I get. But what we do during our rounds is a combination of these actions, everything you see here. And some of them are not available to me right now because we're in our teen years. I can't get a job in my teen years, and I can't really start a relationship, can't work overtime in teen years, right? And I can't really meaningfully plan any kind of experiences during my teen years. But as we get into adulthood, these blocks will remove, and then we'll be able to start doing that. We can, as you'll see here, we can dream. Dream is an action that was one of the expansions added. So dream is part of the experiences expansion. And so we can dream as a teenager, and we can start friendships. So that might be something we can do as well. So everything here is color coded. So red for study, orange for play, purple for interact, take projects is blue, spend is green, temp jobs yellow, and so on, right? That corresponds with the card rows you see over here on the left. So up on top, you see projects, and then you have items and activities, and then you have jobs. We'll get into how jobs work as we play. And here are some potential relationships we could get into. These are people that we know in our lives that we're interested in potentially. Oh, by the way, these are cool because the relationship cards are double-sided. So depending on who you are and what your preferences are, they are blue for male on one side, pink for female on the other side, and a few, thanks to some expansion content, promo content as well, a few non-binary people as well. So we have they, thems in the mix here, and they're represented by purple. We have kind of light green, lime green color for friends. And then down here are experiences. Experiences are things that we can go and do in our lives. These are things that rather than spending money on things, we can plan trips. We can attend big sporting events. We can, go to festivals. We can actually travel and actually do other things while we're on those trips. We can extend the trips and do things while we're there. There's additional content that I'm not playing with today. I am playing with the experiences added in. I am not playing with kids. You can actually have kids with the person that you're in a relationship with. I'm not playing with community. There's an entire array of community type events or things you can do together with the community. or in your community as you're playing. And I'm just, for complexity's sake, I'm just choosing my battles, and I don't want to over complexify the game. Game will of course support you, add again as much as you want, but my choice this game was to just omit community and keep the game a little bit more streamlined. But community would be a deck of cards, and those would be available to you here as well. What we are doing as we are going is we're accumulating certain resources. The big 3 resources in the game, and you can see that over here, and I'll zoom in eventually, are knowledge. They're red books. So you're going to be accumulating knowledge. You're also going to be accumulating creativity. Those are the little orange light bulbs. And finally, the big 3 is you're going to be accumulating influence. You're going to be spending those resources on the activities that and the things in your life that you want to achieve. The additional thing, of course, is money. I start with no money because I'm a teenager and I don't have a job, but that will change. We'll get money as we go. Let's see. So we started, I mentioned before, we start with 6 time. That's represented by these 6 hourglass minis that we've got right here. And then we also have a dream token. This is a cloud. And I'm trying to recall now why we need to use that token. I'll have to look that up. I think that token actually goes on a card you intend to dream about. Like I've always wanted to go to the Puppet Theater Festival in France, right? Or something like that. You can dream about doing that as a teenager. Okay, so yeah, so there's also popularity, but that comes with community, and I don't care about popularity. So for me, I want to live my life the way I want to live my life, and I personally don't have a desire to be terribly popular one way or the other. If I happen to be, great, but that's not what I'm aiming for in my life. So, you know, another thing that I've omitted in this game is a personal preference thing. I just don't really want to juggle popularity as a resource in this game. So what we are trying to do is accumulate victory points. But what are victory points in this game? Well, they call them long-term happiness. Right. So you're going to be accumulating short-term happiness. That's this track here. And certain activities that we perform during the game, certain things that we do, will earn us short-term happiness. Short-term happiness makes it possible for us to spend less resources to get stuff done. But at the end of every round, this resets back to the neutral state. It's short-term. So long-term happiness is the track that runs around the edge of the board. And that's just tracking where we go. So because we have the experience module in place, we have to earn an additional 10 long-term happiness by the end of the game in the solo game in order to win. Normally, we would have to earn 50 long-term happiness, which is down here in this corner. You can't see that, but it's down here in this corner here. And I start way over there in that top corner at 0, and we work our way to 50. But because I have experience module in, we have to get to 60 by the end of the game, or we don't win. Now, what are our winning conditions? Well, obviously we're going to live our life, right? But what does that mean? Well, in the solo game, there are personality traits. There are certain, are these called personality traits? No, these are life goals, pardon me. So these are life goal cards, and I can zoom in on those. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, we can come in a little closer. In fact, I'll because these are important, I'll put these, zoom them in on the screen. So life goals, the first one, my first life goal is to be a traveler. These were dealt, by the way, randomly. I shuffled them up, dealt them to myself. So my first life goal is to be a traveler. Ignore the middle part. That's for the multiplayer game. The only part that matters for this card in the solo game is the bottom, which is experience at least 3 trips. And what do they mean by experience a trip? Well, you can plan a trip and never take it, right? So here's one. Here's a trip that's currently on right now. It's called the Fifi Islands. If I plan the trip, I'm going to buy some sunblock. And the only way that I can complete this step is to at least have $7. I'm starting to save up money for my trip, right? If I do, I get a little bit of rest, but I also get some creativity. So I don't get much for that card, but it's something, right? But what's the actual event of taking the trip is travel to Thailand. That's the experience. And that's going to cost me $3 to take that trip. But I will get some long-term happiness and some creativity. Long-term happiness is the blue star, and the creativity is that orange light bulb again. And then finally, we can choose to extend our trip. That's not required for our life goal, but if we want to do it, we can. We can spend an additional $3, get a little bit more rest and a little bit more long-term happiness. We made that trip. We took full advantage of taking that big trip, and we extended it and stayed a little longer. So that's an example of trips, how they work, and that's part of the experiences. But so one of my goals is to experience at least 3 trips. So not just plan them, but actually take them. My second life goal is the secrets of the universe. What that basically means is I'm going to be studying a lot. I want to be a learned person. And that means that at some point in my adult years, I will need to amass 15 knowledge. I'm going to need to be very smart. I need to have it on hand, not just, getting it and tracking it as I go and using it, but actually keeping it around, get enough of it accumulated that I have 15 knowledge in hand at any given point during the adult years. If I achieve that, then I complete that goal. By the way, I have to complete all 3 of these or I lose the game. And finally, my third is I need to attain a level of Zen. I need to balance my emotional state and my being. And if I do that correctly, what they mean by that is I need to live a nice long life. I need to die at least after the second round of old age. Again, there's 3 possible, and the amount of stress you accumulate in your old age goes up dramatically every round. So that's something. I can't just reach old age, play 1 round, and pass away. I have to stick around and be a little older and achieve an older life before I pass. And if I manage to pass away after the second round of old age or beyond, then I will have completed that goal. So those are my 3. Those were dealt to me randomly. Now, here's that choice I was talking about at the beginning, the one that I made preemptively. And the reason why I made it preemptively was I made a mistake of actually choosing it before I drew my life goals, which is not the way the rules are written. The rules are written to know those first, to have those in front of you so that you can make an informed decision about what childhood trait you're going to choose to have for yourself in this game. So what that basically does is it decides your starting loadout, and it gives you an ability, an asymmetric ability, player ability to choose from. So the one that I had picked sight unseen was productive. And productive would let me to, whenever you get paid from your job, so when you have a job, you get paid from it, of course, and if you get a better job, you get paid more. So when you get paid from your job, gain $1 additional dollar, because I'm very productive, which means they're rewarding me for being a very productive employee, and they're paying me more money. And this, of course, lets me start with those resources. Those are the resources I currently have out on the table. Well, my choice, again, when you set this game up, you're actually dealt 2 and you're allowed to choose based on your life goals. My second one that I was dealt, and I just chose not to choose it, was get an additional hourglass. In other words, an additional action that you can take during the first old age round. That could be very useful in allowing me to survive into the second round of old age, depending on the situation. It's a pretty limited capability. I don't get anything for the whole game, except I get 1 additional amount of time to spend when I probably need it most. So, and I also start with slightly less resources, which is another reason I chose not to take it. So I don't know, I'm not sure, because on the one hand, more money would help me do more experiences, but I don't have a goal about experiences. But some of my experiences will give me knowledge. So that would help me during my knowledge capability, and it would let me take trips having more money. And I do have that trip goal as well. So I think I'm looking at this and talking about it here on stream again. I thought about it, and I thought about it, and I thought about it. I do think it makes sense to stay with productive, because I think productive is going to give me more of a benefit throughout the game and give me more flexibility to do things. Not a whole lot, because it's only money, and money isn't everything in this game. So, I still have to shuck and jive and make better decisions, but hopefully, if I do my job right and I spend this money wisely, I can set myself up for a lower stress life. And that could mean that I end up with more time. And what does that mean? How do I get more time in this game? So we're going to choose productive. We're going to stay with productive. I'm glad I looked at it, though. I am. Let me put that card away in a place that isn't going to fly away. Well, what it means is, let me move these over slightly so you can see them a little bit better. What it means is, here's the stress meter. You can see this on screen right now. You start out at the bottom of the middle section of stress. And that means you have 6 hourglasses. Certain actions you take in the game, certain decisions you make, could increase your stress. And if that happens, you will go up on this track and then up on this track again. If, on the other hand, you continue to increase your stress, you'll get into this yellow section here, which decreases the amount of time available for you to use, because you have less productive hours in the day because you're managing your stress. You're dealing with your stress. Stress becomes an overhead that detracts from the amount of time that you have in your life. So you end up there. And if it gets worse, you lose another time. You go up to 4, you go down to 4 time because you're now up into the orange section, into red, you're down to 3. So you're literally cutting the amount of time you have available in your game in half if you're sitting in that level. So you want to try to avoid being stressed out. And every time you relax, let's say I'm here and I take a relax action or a rest action, that would just bring me down to the section to the bottom half of the bottom section of the area that I'm in. So if I'm in yellow, it would bring me down to the end of the yellow. I'd have to do something else to reduce my stress back down again. That would bring me down here. So I want to be doing things that reduce my stress. That's actually this little heart icon. So anytime we see an ability or something we're going to do in the game that provides me with a heart, we want those, because that's going to drop me into the next section, right? And that's going to mean I'm going to have more time, because the opposite of having more stress and less time is having less stress and more time. So we want to be stress-free. And if we manage to do that, we're going to have more and more time to spend during our lives. So that's stress. So I talked about stress. I talked about short-term happiness. I talked about the actions. I talked about how the rounds work and how they're laid out. I did talk about all the different things we have here to do. These are all the things that are currently available. At the end of every round, the cards are removed and discarded, and then new ones come out. So we're going to see a lot of cards. I have so many, because I own everything for the game, I have so many activity cards, item and activity cards, the green ones, that I actually have to split the deck, and that's still probably 4 decks of regular cards worth of cards. You will not see all of these cards. That can be a problem if you're looking for your promotion in your job, because there's a lot of cards in the job deck. Not very many, but there's a possibility that the job you choose may never see a promotion become available, just like in real life. So you might end up having to choose a different job and move somewhere else with better upward mobility. Sound familiar? So I think that's enough. I think we can get into it. And I'll go over the details as we go. So I have 6 hourglass to spend in my first round. Well, what do we have? We have some projects we can complete. Let's take a look at do we even want a relationship? I don't know. I mean, none of my requirements for this game, none of my life goals include getting married or raising a family or anything. But there are benefits to not living a life alone. The people that you have the ability to date and have relationships with and potentially raise a family with, like Catherine. We'll just take a look at Catherine here. Catherine has upkeep, of course, because every relationship does have upkeep. And there are certain requirements that make you have before you can even like move up in the relationship. You start by dating, and if you want to get into a relationship with Catherine, she's going to require that I'm doing stuff, that I'm shucking and jiving, I'm getting projects done. So she wants me to actually have completed 2 projects. Start living a productive life. And if that's going to be very attractive to Catherine. So Catherine is going to do that, and then after you complete those, you actually get things. You get knowledge, creativity, and what is that called? Influence. That's right. influenced. But everybody's a little different. Some people provide short-term happiness, some people provide long-term happiness in certain areas, which is good because long-term happiness is how we're going to win the game. I got to get to 60. So, and here it is, raise a family, right? If I have 3 projects completed, I can raise a family with Catherine, and she will provide 2 long-term happiness. But this is upkeep, which means, when you have a family, you got to devote some time to your family. Well, I would have to devote 2 of my time every round to my family. $2 costs money to live life. And, but that earns you 5 long-term happiness every time you pay your upkeep. This is just a reward for doing it the first time. But then after that, every single time you pay your upkeep, you're going to get 5 victory points over and over and over again. I'm pretty sure I'm right about that. But there you go. So if you were to rush your relationship, if that's one of the first things you do, you could start earning a lot of victory points for that. A lot of long-term happiness. Let me just make sure I have the rule books. Let me get to relationships. Start a relationship, upkeep cost, right. Yeah, Yep. Okay. Card actions. Yeah. Upkeep reward, level reward. Yeah, okay, I was right. Okay, good. I got that right. Great. So the first time we level up Catherine to raise a family, get to the level 3 of that relationship, I would earn effectively 7 long-term happiness, because it would be the reward for promotion into that tier, plus the reward for paying this upkeep, because you pay the upkeep to get there. Oh no, you don't. I lied. You don't pay the upkeep to get into the level. Ignore I said that. You just have to meet its prerequisites. So I'll just, for the sake of doing that. So let's see that I can spend an action that round. I can spend some time that round to move into the level 3. But my prerequisite is I have to have 3 projects completed. So that's it. I would complete my 3rd project and say, okay, I'm going to spend an hourglass to raise a family. And then I would get this reward, 2 long-term happiness for achieving that. At the start of the next round, or I think it's the end of your current round, there's an upkeep phase where you pay your upkeep. So you would net these both, but they're different parts of the turn. So you would continue to earn 5 long-term happiness each and every round where you're paying your upkeep for that relationship. So if I were to rush that, it was pretty hard to rush though, because with that particular person, you need a lot of resources and money to reach the next level of that relationship. So let me give you an example. Here's Alexandra. Alexandra doesn't give you as many things as a one-time benefit, but you still end up getting 5 long-term happiness. But I spend the same amount of stuff and get the same amount of long-term happiness. So this section here is exactly the same, except my prerequisites are a little different. Over here, though, this is way less expensive. This relationship piece, which you're probably going to stay in for a little while, is much less expensive. 2 knowledge, 1 influence, and 1 short term. Oh no, you spend the time and you get that benefit. Okay, so but it's still less expensive, because instead of spending 1 time and 3 money, I'm just spending the 1 time. I don't have to keep spending money in this relationship to keep Alexandra happy. Alexandra's just happy getting my time. That's all, right? So that's an example of where I might have to be very careful. If I need my money for doing trips and whatever, I don't want to have to also be in an expensive relationship with somebody who's really worried about my money. So Alexandra might be a better choice for me, because I'll get a little bit of short-term happiness out of it, which makes things cheaper. It also gives me knowledge. That's not a bad thing. And since the cost for raising a family with Alexandra is the same, I could get 5 victory points over and over and over again for as long as we are in that large raise a family relationship. So And then, just to be clear, not everybody you date in this game actually wants to go on and have a family. This is Valentina, who just wants to date. Super casual person. That's all. You can date Valentina, but she has no interest in long-term relationship or raising a family. But might be perfectly fine because, again, I am looking for that short-term happiness to keep things make things happen for me a little bit easier. But I like the idea of having a generator of long-term happiness in that relationship. So maybe Alexandra is the way to go. So I don't know. I have to look at the upkeep phase, whether or not the relationships disappear or not. In fact, that's kind of a good, important thing to know, because if I want to, where is upkeep? Upkeep, refresh cards. It's right there. Oh, that's neat. I can just choose to refresh a row. I have to lose a short-term happiness to do it, but I can. Okay. Get promotion, opt for an upgrade, stress track, card actions, start a relationship. These are all things you're doing in the game. Round overview, upkeep phase. There we go. Count up all the blah, 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 did all that. Okay. Upkeep rewards. Preparation phase. There we are. Discard all the cards remaining on the game board from each of the project, item, activity, job, and partner piles. So yes, this is my teen years. So I'm going to have a teenage sweetheart that we're going to go on a date with. And then that person, if we stay in that relationship, will go on to become my life partner. All right. Okay. By the way, I should mention, study, let me zoom out so you can see the whole board. Study is an action we can take. It just earns you 3 knowledge. You can also just take the play action and it'll just earn you 3 creativity. Yeah, 3 creativity. And then interact is just 3 interaction, right? So I don't have to take a card and do card actions. I can just take board actions. The next one's down here though. This is a temp job. I can just go deliver pizzas, right? Just a temp job for that round. That's it. $3, right? Or I can spend, and that's where I take a card, or take a project, and that's where I take a project. I should talk about briefly, and then we'll get into it, we'll actually start playing, that there's a finite amount of stuff you can do at one time. That's true in real life. Why wouldn't it be true in this game? If I have any more than 3 active things going on, so I have an activity that I'm in the middle of, I haven't completed it yet. I have a job. I have projects, active projects that I'm working on. I'm in a relationship. If I have more than 3 of any one of those at any given time, I start taking on stress. That's not a bad thing necessarily, but you just have to know that some things are going to stress you out. Doing too much will stress you out. If I take the same action more than once, so if I take 2 projects in the same round, for example, I will get an additional stress for taking the same action twice. So that's the last thing I want to talk about, because I think that's the only other part that really matters to know about in terms of following my strategy. Okay, so let's get into it. We have some projects up there. I need to get to 15 knowledge by the end of my adult years. So that's a priority. I think Alexandra will help me with that to some extent. So I think the first thing we're going to do, oddly, which is not part of my strategy at all in terms of like getting my life goals done. There's not a life goal that says raise a family or be in a relationship or anything, but it's going to benefit me. So I'm going to do it. Is we're going to, I can't start a relationship. am I supposed to have the relationships out since I can't start one? If not, I'm going to leave them on the board. That's what I'll do. It's just advanced knowledge. It's fine. I can't start a relationship. I'm in my teenage years. But I'm not going to wipe that row the first round. I probably should have left those out, but it's fine. It's not going to really modify how I do things. I can start a friendship, though. So let's take a look at friendship. Friendship does have some cost, some upkeep cost, but it's always a trade. You're going to be converting goods, essentially. So let's take Aiden. I like Aiden because Aiden's rewards for spending time in that friendship is knowledge. Aiden makes you smarter. And not just that, the upkeep for Aiden's friendship, especially at the acquaintance level, is further knowledge. You're going to trade some creativity and he's going to hit you with some knowledge. And then later on, if you make Aiden, if you spend the time and invest in that friendship and you make him a close friend, then when you spend two knowledge, you get to relax, you get to chill with Aiden. And that reduces the stress in the section that you're in, allowing you to strategically get more done just by hanging out with your friend. And also still the reward for achieving that level is also more knowledge and more chill. So that's good. And then if you manage to make him your best friend, every single time you invest time in your best friend, you will earn 3 knowledge, 2 long-term happiness, and some more chill. I don't know what they call it, but that's what I'm calling it. Calling it relax. Right? Get to relax. So there you go. That's Aiden. I think we're going to go with doing that. But every time your upkeep for Aiden is you always going to be trading in creativity for knowledge. If you don't get something that helps you generate creativity, you could end up not being able to pay your upkeep for your friendship. So that's the worry. That's the worry here. If I get any friendship, there's one friend on the board that doesn't have an upkeep cost at the acquaintance level, and that's Farida. If we look at Farida instead, Farida has no upkeep cost and earns me a long-term happiness because I got to get to 60. That's not a bad thing. But there's no upkeep cost. So I'm not going to get this over and over and over again. I'm only going to get it the first time I'm an acquaintance with Farida. In order to do that, I'm still converting something. This one, though, requires me to convert knowledge and influence. And I want to keep my knowledge. So I don't really want to do that. And it costs me more to become their friend. It costs me more knowledge to become their friend, too. So Farida is probably not a good choice for me because it's costing me things that I need in order to win the game. So I got to tread lightly, though. I got to be careful. I only start with the game with 3 creativity, and I need certain creativity to do other things. There's projects and things that require. Oh, interesting. Okay, so here's an example. Here's one that requires creativity in order to even do. This is a project saying go to engineering school. And the first level is study. Cost me $1 to go to school. Cost me 2 creativity because it's a creative job, but I get knowledge and long-term happiness. If I get a degree from that, I get to take a science job for 2 less knowledge because I've already prepped myself for that job. Are there science jobs out there? No, not currently, but we're going to wipe all of these at the end of this round. I could dream. If I dream, I could dream of doing one of these jobs. That's one. There's a level 2 job. I don't think I can start that job. I think you can, actually. You can just start doing a level 2 job. But that's expensive. I can't even get that job. I don't have the stuff to get that job. There's an actor who can spend time, creativity, and influence to get money. Crucially, it doesn't require you to spend knowledge, which I'm trying to accumulate for my life goals. So actor might be a good job for me because I can make a decent amount of money at $7 every round as a local theater actor. But the thing with that is I don't think that there's a promotion opportunity there. The most I'd ever make is like $10, which is a lot, but I might just let the jobs roll and see what else we get. I'm not too thrilled with my options at this point. So, okay, we're not going to dream about a job. We could dream about an experience, pretty sure. There's a puppet festival. There is a sand festival in Texas. That's amazing. Okay, so we could dream about going to the Texas Sand Festival. And if we do that, we're going to practice at the beach. But we're going to get some knowledge. We're going to learn what doesn't work about being a sand artist. But eventually we might want to travel to Texas and see this festival for ourselves. If we do that, we get a little long-term happiness and we get some more knowledge. Finally, we might actually attempt to do our own sand sculpturing. If we do that, we're going to get even more knowledge and even more long-term happiness. So we could dream about doing that because it gives us knowledge. I don't know what I want to do. I think I'm going to let that slide too. Just not seeing much. It's really going to make me excited here. An engineering school, though, does seem like a good project to take on. And I don't have any money, though. So I can't do that. But I think I can dream about the project. I'm gonna look at dreaming for a second because I just want to make sure that I'm not. Where are you? Dream. Dreams. There we go. Yeah. Yes, I can dream an experience, and I can dream a project as well. Ooh, nope, I can't. No, I can. I just misread it. Yes, I can dream a project. So, great. So that's what we're going to do. Our first, finally, at long last, our first action is we're going to take our dream action. So I put one of my hourglasses on dream, and we're going to take the engineering school, and we're going to stick that on, what do I need? I need creativity for that job. So what I'm looking at is up here is my dream board. As a child, you have a dream board. And every time you dream about something, you can put it in one of the 3 dream slots. And when you do, you get the resource that accompanies that slot. So you'll see the symbol at the bottom right corner of each of those slots. I could get more knowledge, that's true, but this particular project earns me knowledge, and it costs me creativity. So I think I'm going to cover the creativity one and get a little leg up on my creativity early. So I'm gonna dream the engineering school, and we're going to get 1 creativity for dreaming about the engineering school. I can't go yet because I'm broke, but then when that happens, we get a new project that comes out, the obstacle course. Interesting. Let's take a look at this obstacle course. I might want to start working on that. It's a kid's summer camp. I could do that right now. This obstacle course is pretty cool. If we work our way all the way through this and we complete this project at the Ninja Fighter show, I take a stress. That's no good. But I get a heart, which lets me offset the stress. That's odd. Oh, no. I just go up one line of the stress. So I would need to keep my nose clean because I'm going to get a stress here and a stress here. But if I do that and I manage not to cross over to the next tier of stress in the process, I will drop down into I'll get an upgrade and be able to spend more time every round. That's a big deal. I think I'm going to start this project right away. So my next action here is to take a project. This comes out. This is one of the 3 things I can do without incurring stress. So with that, this project flips over. Okay, we have direct play. Huh. Oh, I can direct a play. I can be a director. Ah, that's amazing. Huh. Fascinating. Not a big enough payoff, though, to make it worth it. Huh. Interesting. Okay, but we're gonna work on this obstacle course, and so we put a little tracker cube on the first section of the kids' summer camp. You can't see that. Let me get down over here. There we go. So what I've done is I've put this here on my side, on my tableau, and I put a little tracking cube on the kids' summer camp. That's the first thing that you do when you first start a project, is you just achieve the first one, if you can. If you can't, you can't start the project. And then for that, I get short-term happiness. So I go up on this short-term happiness track right here. So I go up to here. From here on out, for the rest of this round, I get to ignore one of the resource costs of doing an action. So if it requires money, I can ignore that. Let's see here. That's expansions. I'm going to double check dreaming again, because now, if that's the case, I might be able to start that engineering school right now, because I might be able to ignore that money. Let's take a look. Yeah. Oh, interesting. I'd have to take a stress, though, because I already took a project this round. Upkeep phase. Ah, I see. Okay, great. I think I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait on the engineering school. I don't want to incur the stress. I could, but I'm not going to, because the longer I dream about something, the more desire tokens are placed on that dream. And if I achieve it, then I get stuff. I'll have to look up what the stuff is, but I get something more for achieving something that I've desired for quite some time. Okay. Okay, so now what do I want to do here? Graffiti. No. Oh, I should mention, some of the expansions are a little less than scrupulous. One in particular is called Thug Life. So it mixes into the decks a bunch of unscrupulous stuff. You know, basically GTA, but in this board game form. So think about all the horrible things you could do in GTA. You can pretty much do them. You can go on heists and, you know, that kind of stuff, and end up with a bad, you know, seedy life. I obviously am not all about that, so I'm not going to add that in. It would be funny, though. So the Thug Life cards are not in the deck. Not to worry. I don't have money for bowling. All of my activities take money. I could start a friendship. That's a good thing. I need that creativity, though, for my obstacle course. But that's just upkeep. Oh, yeah. He needs me to have 2 short-term happiness, though. Oh, that's interesting. To even start it, he wants me to be pretty chill, pretty happy. So what can I do? I could attend Easter an Easter service. That's one of the projects up there. But oh, I already took a project this round. I took a project and I dreamed, so I don't want to take on the stress of another project right now. I already dreamed. I could take a temp job, get $3. And then I could take the next level of my obstacle course. That's what I'll do. I'll take a temp job and I'll get $3. That's a quick way for a kid to make some money, right? Mow some lawns, deliver some pizzas. I like it. Okay, now I have money. So what do I want to do with that? Well, I could get my first point. I could get this next level of my obstacle course done. And all I would need to do is pay either $2 or 1 and 1 or whatever, because I get to reduce this because of my short-term happiness. So I do have the money, and money's not that difficult to get. Hey, I get paid from a job. And I guess that means, it probably means not temp jobs. It probably means your actual job. I'm not going to use my productive for a temp job. That seems a little broken. So never mind. I was going to say I have $4 instead of 3, but I think I'm gonna save the creativity for right now. So I'm gonna pay $2 and I'm gonna ignore the creativity because I have my short-term happiness. And I'm gonna go here and pay the $2 of the 3 that I just got to do the activities resort. And that earns me 1 knowledge. Here I am already earning knowledge. 1 knowledge, 2 influence. Oh, they're called, yeah, influence. 2 influence. And 1 long-term happiness. I got my first point. I'm on the board. Way up here. Can't see. Okay. Pretty sure that's not 2, but if it is, it's fine. I'll track it when it gets there. Okay. Can't see because it's behind the project deck. It's so big. Okay. Okay. And I spent time on that card to do that. I have 2 time left for my teenage years. I could spend more time on the obstacle course. I would gain a stress for that, but that's okay. I don't think short-term happiness lets me skip stress. That'd be pretty cool, though. I'm going to look at short-term happiness just because I don't remember that particular wrinkle. Yeah, right. Yeah, wonderful. Start a relationship. Rest. Partners. Card actions. Stress track. Right. What was I looking for? I want to know whether or not, short-term happiness can be used to skip. So what I'm looking for is short-term happiness. There it is. Yeah. Resources. Stress is not a resource. Yeah, okay. Fine. I didn't think so. Okay. All right. So I could reduce the cost of the Marine training right now by 1. I like it though. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to rush this. I might have enough even to get it all the way done. Oh, I don't. I won't have enough to get it all the way done, but I'll have enough to do one more level. So, okay, so we're going to spend another time on this obstacle course. And I'm going to go up 1 on the stress, and I'm going to come down to marine training, and instead of spending 2 creativity, I'm going to spend 1 because I'm, again, short-term happiness. And for that, I get 3 knowledge, and I get 2 long-term happiness. So I'm up to 3 now. Amazing. Okay, so I'm 1 step away from being from good health, from getting good health for this ninja fighter show. But I have to spend essentially 2 time, 1 to take the action and 1 additional time invested on the show itself. That's why this hourglass is right here. So I have 1 action left, but I don't have enough time in my teenage years to do the ninja fighter show. That's okay. I could have graffitied my bedroom door for a short-term happiness and gone and gotten Aiden as a friend. I could have done that, but I just don't think I'm going to have the creativity necessary to upkeep that friendship, not with everything else going on. I already took a job. I already dreamed I could study. No harm in that for my last one. I do have $1. Is there something I can do for $1 that's worth doing? Could join a gym. Strangely, the gym itself doesn't give me good health. It should, but it doesn't. That's a very odd situation. Anything else earning me good health right now? No. I want that good health because I want that extra time every round. Need the time. I think I'm going to study. I only have 1 action left. And I'm going to spend some of that knowledge next round for the Ninja Fighter show. So I'm going to offset it. I'm going to study for 3. It's what you do when you're a kid, right? Study for 3. So I have 10 knowledge right now heading into my my first adult round. Okay, that's the end of the round. I'm out of actions. So all of these cards come off. And we're going to see brand new cards for everything here. I'll wait. I'm not going to look at that until we... So all the friends go away. I could have made friends with these people, but I didn't. That's a bummer. I couldn't have started a relationship, so it doesn't make any sense to have a relationship deck dealt. That's right. So those guys are going to stay out. The jobs get cycled. New jobs come and go all the time. Okay, we're going to 1, a 2, a 3, and a 4. Not looking. Put that down. Okay. Their cards are double-sided, so I don't want to inadvertently give myself knowledge. Okay. Interesting jobs. But again, there's not a level 1 job. Yeah, it's annoying. Sell business. Huh. There is a race car driver, though. Lots of stress, though. Ooh. Ooh, I don't know. Okay, and then the items get cycled, which is good because we've got a million of them. I'll put that discard over here. Pardon my arm there. Okay. Ant Farm, Dream Catcher, Arcade. Hey, I like Arcade. And Log Building. All right. And then our projects cycle as well. We go up to the teen years and to our first adult year. And for doing that, those blocked actions are now unblocked because we are an adult. We can do any damn thing we feel like. Okay. All right, so let's see who our friends are available in our first adult years. Arthur and Melissa. Okay. Oh, but Arthur and Melissa want to go on double dates and stuff. So they want you to have a partner before you can be friends with them. Zanab here wants me to be knowledgeable before I can be friends. But it costs me knowledge all the time. Oh, interesting. Well, have a partner. All right, well, first of all, let's take all these off. Now that I'm an adult, I can work overtime if I want to. All right, and we take all of our actions back. Okay. We got a fresh set of cards. We have not dealt our new experiences. Let's do that. Easter Island. Antarctic Expedition. You can't see. There we go. Liberty Island. Tennis Grand Slam. And the Yipeng Festival. Okay. Well, I could dream about going to Easter Island by studying the Rapa Nui. I have enough, it says have at least foreknowledge to begin planning it, and I'd get to creativity for it. Oh, upkeep. I have one desire I get to place on my engineering school dream. So I probably will do this round. Did a science job come out? No. Oh, my short-term happiness comes down to 0. Don't have that anymore. Okay. I believe I am ready to go. Let's start a relationship with Alexandra. Let's go on a date. We've known each other since high school. So we're going to go on a date with Alexandra. Alexandra does take up one of my slots. And so the first slot is dating. We are now dating Alexandra. And that nets me 1 short-term happiness and 1 knowledge. Okay. I have a partner, so I can now be friends with Arthur and Melissa. Okay. Here's why I like the idea of being friends with Arthur and Melissa, because it cost me influence to be friends with them. And I'm not really using influence a lot right now. And I feel like I'm earning it for the things that I'm doing a lot, at least so far. So And I can always spend time interacting. It's an action for 3 influence if I need it to make sure that I have enough to upkeep my friendship with Arthur and Melissa. Obviously, we would prefer to get that from taking other actions, but if necessary, I could. And the conversion is into knowledge, which we need for the other things we're doing. There's a project up there for law school. Huh. Social jobs. Interesting. There is a social worker. Interesting. Do I want to be a social worker? I don't know. I mean, I could. Nothing wrong with it. I just don't know that it's going to be beneficial to me in the game. There's no real promotion track, which isn't itself a bad thing. An arts job. I can take a science job for cheaper, I think, if I complete the engineering school. But there is an arts job. It's expensive to get into. I almost have enough to do it, though. A lot of upkeep, though. 2 time, a knowledge, a creativity, and an influence. But it earns me $11. Wow. And if a level 3 arts job comes along later, I can promote into it. So I would be starting at a level 2 job, which would be expensive, but I can do it. And I'd be a composer. That's what this one is. The other side is the same thing where it says animator. Composer or animator. Same job. That's something to think about. $11 would not suck. If I promote, I'd get 5 long-term happiness, along with $5, if I'm reading that right. Yeah. Okay. Starting a job wouldn't be the worst idea. Composer would cost me a lot of time, though, because that 2 time would essentially negate the long-term health gain that I'm getting here, because the job would take me away from home a lot. Preferably, because my job, because I'm a productive person, my jobs pay me more money. So I might take advantage of that by finding a job that doesn't make me have to work so many hours. I'm trying to decide what that, here's what I'm looking at. There's this liquor store owner. I don't know that I want to own a liquor store in this job, but I don't understand what the black cube means. I know what they are, but I don't know how to interpret that card. Card actions. Start a relationship. Yeah. Opt for an upgrade. Get a promotion. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to look it up because the book is not being that detailed. If I look at that and I try to interpret it, start a business. Oh, you're investing in it. Look at the upkeep. So you spend the time and the knowledge, and you get money and a cube. And then when you start the business, you get another cube. So you get a cube to start, and then every time you upkeep the job, you get a cube, and eventually you can sell it for $2 and one long-term happiness per cube you have accumulated on this card. The problem is the card doesn't really, I mean, it earns you $7. So I guess it's true. It would earn me $8 to start a business as a liquor store owner. Not the most glamorous thing in the world, but it only requires 2 time, but it also requires 2 knowledge. And I don't really want to spend my knowledge yet. I'm so close. Let's see something here. Let's become friends. Let's start a friendship. I got to pay upkeep, remember. But is that what we want? I think it is. Yeah. And I don't think you need, friends don't take up a slot either. Friends are free. Friends, page 17. Friends are free. Yeah, right. During setup, friends do not occupy any slot. Great. No limit to the amount of friends you can have. Delightful. Okay. Yep. And you can repeat level 3 of a friendship anytime you want. Yeah, so I think that's what we're going to do. So here's Arthur and Melissa again, just as a recap. Every round during upkeep from here on out, I'm going to have to pay 1 influence, but I'm going to gain a knowledge. For becoming their friend, their acquaintance, I have to have a partner, which I do have. And I will immediately get 2 knowledge and a creativity. If I move to close friends later, I'll have to spend 2 influence instead, but I'll get more stuff. I have to have at least 2 influence on me before I can become close friends. I think that means that I can do that right now because I can invest more time, become close friends with them right now. But that means I'd have to create a lot of creativity every round. So I have to be careful there. Not creativity, influence. But then best friends doesn't have an upkeep anymore. If you move into best friends, you just have to have 4 influence on you. Now they're just your best friends. They don't require upkeep anymore. And they're going to net me 2 victory points or 2 long-term happiness, along with all that other stuff, every single round. So I think friendship doesn't cost me anything. So we're not going to consider that part of our 3 cap. I have a partner, so I just immediately start a friendship. So that goes there to start a friendship. And I immediately gain 2 acquaintances, 2 knowledge, and 1 creativity. Okay. Okay, and now I put a little tracking cube to remind myself that we are acquaintances with Arthur and Melissa. Okay. Now, what does that leave me? I'm at 13 knowledge. I'm almost done with my Secrets of the Universe goal. I haven't done any trips. I need to worry about that. That's soon. I don't have any money anyway. Let's study for the engineering school. That will earn me 3. I can take that project. And desire, what does desire get me for dreaming? Let's take a close look at dreaming. There's dreaming. Gain 1 long-term happiness for each desire token on it before returning it to the display. Okay, well, it's got 1 long-term, it's got 1 dream token on it right now. So it would only net me 1 victory point if I take it now, but I think I need to. So I'm going to take a project, and I'm going to take the engineering school off my dream board, I'm going to earn 1 victory point, 1 long-term happiness for finally starting my dream of going to the engineering school. I have 1 short-term happiness. So the resource of my choosing that I'm going to save right now is my money. So I'm going to spend 2 creativity and no money, and I'm going to get 3 knowledge and 1 long-term happiness. So now we're up to 5. So we're studying at the engineering school. Okay. Alexandra wants me to have happenings planned before she will agree to be in a relationship with me long term. Okay, first and foremost, let's stop there and say we have completed one of our 3 goals, which is to have at least 15 knowledge at any time during an adult round. I achieved that in my first adult round. So I'm going to go ahead and flip that over just to remind myself that it's done. I need to go on 3 trips, and I need to reduce my stress. The best way to reduce my stress is to at long last, complete my Ninja Fighter show. So we're going to spend a card action on this obstacle course, and we're going to spend everything it requires. We're going to spend an additional time. We're going to go up on the stress meter. We're still in this blue section. We haven't crossed over, so we're good. We still get 6 hourglasses every round. We now spend 2 of our our knowledge. So 5 down to 3. Find some 1s here. There we go. Okay. And 3 creativity. But short-term happiness. So I'm going to make that 2. Spend the 2 that I've got. Okay. And now we have completed the prerequisites for the Ninja Fighter show. I earned $2 from that. So this heart now means I am down to the next level. Do I go to the bottom of that or the top of that? I don't know. Stress track. Stress track. Whenever you gain 1 health, you move to the stress track to 1 section down, maintaining its exact relative position. Aha. Okay. So because I'm at the top of the stress track here in this section, I will remain in the top of the stress on this section. However, at the beginning of the next round, I should have looked. I have it up. Or is it now? Do I get it right away? I think it's at the beginning of the round. That's got to be. Yeah, that's the beginning of the round. Okay, so next round, I will now have 7 hourglasses per round. So this is cool. Okay. That being said, and I get 3 long-term happiness. So I'm at 5 now, I'm up to 8. The obstacle course is done. There's nothing else to track on this project. It is now complete. So I'm going to stick it off to the side. And I now have an additional slot available to do something. And that's in spent time. So we're going to track those there. Okay. I have 1 more action left this round. Any projects? Study group. I don't need to accumulate any more knowledge anymore. I don't have to be quite so knowledge heavy because I completed that goal. So my trips. Let's look at trips. I can start planning a trip. I could dream about planning a trip. That wouldn't suck. Well, let's look at these options. Easter Island is pretty basic. I wouldn't get a ton for it. I could dream about going on an Antarctic expedition. But, and I say dream right now because I don't have the money. I only have 3 and it requires 4. But if I dream about it, next round I'll get a victory point just for having dreamed about it. And it won't go away. It'll be available. I will, if I complete them both in the same round, which would be tricky but doable, I would get 2 short-term happiness, and then I could, well, that friend that I had out isn't available anymore. I got to be careful with friends, though. It would be more upkeep requirements. And I do have a friend already. We have these Arthur and Melissa folks. Antarctic expedition. The reason is we could get some short-term happiness. But it's not a happening, it's a trip. And Alexandra wants me to be doing happenings, but my requirements want me to do trips. This one's going to be a bit expensive. I want a better job, you know? I only have 1 action left. So even if I wanted to take the liquor store job, I don't have the money for it. I don't want to dream about having a liquor store. It just doesn't seem right. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with it. I just don't feel like that's dream worthy, right? I don't know. Maybe that's the person's passion, right? It's fine. So 2 long-term happiness for each of those. I could go to the Yupeng Festival instead. And that is free to start. I can start planning this happening because I have a partner. That would let me rest. And that's actually a good thing. That would let me reduce my stress. And then it doesn't start costing me money until we actually travel to Thailand. And I only have to plan a happening. This is the happening, so it doesn't count as a trip like the other one does. Do happenings and experiences generally, do they cost me, page 8, do they take up room in my slots? That's the big question. Yeah. Does not occupy any slot. Hey. Okay. Oh, an experience. But what about a happening? Is that considered an experience as well? No. Okay, they're considered the same. Great. Okay. Well, there's no harm in it then. So I think for our last action, we're going to plan an experience. And we're going to plan to go to Thailand to see the Yupeng Festival. So that'll come down here. And we are going to take the last, no, that's it. We just put a cube on it. Okay. That gives us a little bit that gives us a rest action. Now, resting, I believe resting is just going down 1 step on the track. Whenever you gain 1 relax, move your stress in 1 space. Yes, okay. So I just go down 1, which is good. Now we have a little bit of breathing room in this section here. Okay. Because I built a lantern in preparation for our trip to Thailand. Yeah, I like it. I like it. Okay, that's the end of this round. We're only at eight long-term happiness, though. So we're trucking right along, but we got to get trucking on this long-term happiness generation, or we're going to have a hard time. But it's okay because we have an extra hourglass now. We're up to 7 hourglasses, as long as we stay within that level of stress. Short-term happiness comes back down to here, and all of these disappear. We did not dream. We just planned an experience. That's right. Okay. Yep. We are now heading into the second adult year. Okay. Happy Chill Sunday to you as well, Chaotic Meeples. Thank you for joining me. I'm glad you're here. I hope your Sunday is as chill as mine. We are forming our very interesting life here in Pursuit of Happiness. Right. Just getting started, though. Just getting started in our life. We've barely become an adult. Okay, here we go. Some new experiences coming out. Cloud Forest, Aran Islands, Comic Book Convention, Wakakusa Yamayaki. Interesting. And the Windy Forest. Okay. Some new friends come out. If we want to make some more friends, I have to pay some upkeep here in a minute. Let's not forget that. Okay. New partners. Although I have a partner, and I don't really feel like, I think you have to spend a stress or short-term happiness or something. I think it's a short-term happiness if you want to not upkeep someone. Okay. Navy Admiral. Did we finally get a job we can take? Let's see. Travel blogger. Well, we're going to Thailand here soon, probably. Bit crazy. Yeah. I know that. Okay. Graphic drawing tablet. Get piercing. Board game sale. Hey, we always love a board game sale. Yeah, okay. Interesting. A game show. I can go on a game show. I wonder how much effort I would have to put in. I get a lot of long-term happiness if I go on a game show. Would require a lot of knowledge, though. I could get 6 long-term happiness and $3 if I go on that game show and spend 10 of my knowledge. I have 14. I totally could do that. But 6 is a lot of long-term happiness to gain. Wow. Could take up sumo wrestling. It's pretty interesting. A domino show. Learn a foreign language. Oh, upkeep. Let's get our upkeep done. I have to spend 1 of my influence, but I gain a knowledge for that because Arthur and Melissa are smart people. That's cool. And then I don't have any upkeep for dating Alexandra. And I can't get into a relationship with her yet because I haven't planned enough happenings. I've got 1 of my happenings planned, but not 2. I could plan, have at least 2 items. I don't have 2 items. Hmm. Hmm. Gotta make some room here. I don't have items. You could get items, but is it worth it? The other happening here is have at least one item and one activity. Don't have either of those. Have at least 4 money. Don't have a job. Can't get money. God, I might burn some short-term happiness to wipe the job row again. I'm getting a little tired of not getting good jobs. At least the civil servant. It's a social job, not a science job. It would be nice to get a science job. But the civil service, at least, civil servant has a promotion track at least. So does the Coast Guard, but it's a security and safety job. I really want a science job. I'm setting myself up for a science job. Hmm. We can get an engineering degree. Hmm. We need to get some money going so we can start taking some of these trips. Let's see. How do I want to do here? Oh, when did I start? Probably about 3 months ago. But I've been informally streaming video games and board games periodically prior to this. But this is the first time. But about 3 months ago, I decided it was time to really make this a standing thing and do this regularly every week. So I did that. I've been fundraising for Extra Life for Children's Miracle Network hospitals for 12 years. And when you try to, me and my team of people, video game stream during their event every year, we've raised, I don't know, between $10,000 and $12,000 over the course of those 12 years. So we've really enjoyed doing that. So we're no strangers to streaming. I'm no stranger to streaming. And so I just needed to get a rig, the equipment together to actually make it possible to do this every week and not take over my entire house with a bunch of wires and gear and stands and all that stuff that you can think about having in these kind of streaming scenarios. But yeah, I've really enjoyed streaming as a kind of occasional thing. But one of the benefits, and this was part of the calculus, one of the benefits to doing this, setting up a regimented schedule of doing this every week, is it actually has made it so that I get past the whole like getting the game off the shelf and getting it set up and just looking at it and going, well, okay, I don't have the mental bandwidth to start playing this game right now, so I'm just going to leave it on the table. And a week goes by and the thing's still on the table and I haven't played it. Right? This having this Sunday commitment has meant that I've got to deliver something. Right? I got to actually play this game, get it on the table, learn it, and play it. In the case of this game, I've played this game before. It's been a long time and I wanted to see it again. So this is an example of one that I didn't have to learn fresh just to get it streamed. But it has really meant that I've played a lot more games, which was part of the goal the whole time. Was just like get some more games out, get them actually played. And it has, of course, informed my culling, right? And which games do I keep in my collection and which do I can like trade in and move on to make more room for more games. I have another stack of games that just showed up yesterday that will probably make their appearance on the stream before long. But that's how it goes in the hobby. So I really enjoy it. I enjoy playing all kinds of different kinds of games. I really like thematic integration as a quality of a game. If it doesn't have a strong thematic integration, I find them hard to learn. So I'm thrilled to finally have the impetus to actually get games tabled and played on a regular cadence, and that has worked really well for me. It's been a lot of fun. So I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here checking it out. And thanks for the follow, by the way. I appreciate that too. All right. Well, I got to get this show on the road. So what are we going to do in our adult life here? We've got to get a job. We can't get into mid-adulthood and not have a steady gig. That's not going to work out really well for us if we don't. I don't want a safety and security job because those cause stress. And that's 2 of the 4 that are out there. I want to plan another happening so that I can qualify to move up in my relationship status with Alexandra. I will earn a short-term happiness every round that I'm in a relationship with Alexandra, which just makes everything cheaper, right? So that's not a bad thing. I don't have to spend time in upkeep right now on that relationship, but that's okay. That might be worth it because I get a bunch of stuff every round just for spending that time with her. So I don't know. We could finish studying for that degree so that maybe next round when the science job finally does come out, I can get the science job. That would be nice. I can dream about a job though. But if I complete the degree, then I don't want to take on additional stress. I don't think, let me just check the rules real quick. I don't think when you choose to get rid of a card that you lose, that you gain stress. I think you gain, you actually go down in short-term happiness by getting rid of a card. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm not seeing that though. Refresh cards. Discard a card. Penalty. There it is. There may be 1 or more cards in your play area that in one way or the other require long-term commitment. As a free action, you may choose to discard any 1 such card from your play area and get 1 stress and lose 1 short-term health. Ooh, so it's both. It's not just one or the other. It's both. Ouch. Okay. Well. Oh, this is a group item. Not as attractive. Group items are really for multiplayer. I could get a monkey. I could get a monkey as a pet. Get some more short-term happiness. Costs money to upkeep though. A lot of money. And I don't have a good job. Pardon the dogs. Let's see. I think let's stick to it. Here's why I was looking at the whole discard a card thing, right? If I get that job and I decide not to keep that job, I'm going to gain stress and long-term and lose short-term happiness. I don't want to do either of those things, especially right now, because if I expend additional stress on the degree, then if I gain any more stress, I lose time, and I don't want to do that. So I think we're just going to stay the course, and we're going to stay in school. We're going to keep working towards our engineering degree. So we're going to play, first of all, because we don't have any creativity right now. Do we want to get creativity a different way? Maybe. Maybe. We could get this graphic drawing tablet. It costs $1, and it gets me 4 creativity. So that's a good way to get an item out of the way, because some of these things, these experiences and things require me to have an item. So that would give me an item, and I could upgrade that item later if I want to. So I like that. That's not too bad. So we're going to spend some money, I think. Yeah. So we're going to spend some money and we're going to buy the graphic drawing tablet. We're going to spend $1 to do it. We're going to gain 4 creativity. We needed creativity anyway, and at least we got an extra one for taking that action. Okay. Okay, new item comes out. Monkey can take that spot. And what do we get? Dining out. Go to a greasy spoon. Well, maybe. But first and foremost, we're going to finish this degree now that we have some creativity to spare. So we're going to spend one of our actions on engineering school, and we're going to spend the $2 we've got left and 3 of our 4 creativity. And we're going to go up on the stress track. But in exchange, we get 5 more knowledge, 2 more influence. Cool. And more importantly, 3 more long-term happiness. We are now at 11. We're only 1/6 of the way there, and the game is almost half over. What could possibly go wrong? Okay. Don't have money, but I don't need to have money. I could plan another trip, but none of the trips I can meet their prerequisites. I could dream about one of these trips, though. So which trip would I want to dream about? Well, we could dream about going to the cloud forest in Costa Rica. Would give me a short-term happiness just to plan for it. I need to get 3 trips done by the end of the game or I'm going to lose. So that doesn't suck. It's not a very expensive trip. And I get 4 long-term happiness if I extend the trip. So let's do that. Let's dream, and we'll put it in the creativity slot up here. Let's dream. We'll get 1 creativity for dreaming of going to the cloud forest. And Windy Forest comes out. New Year's concert. Have at least 7 creativity. Don't have that. Need to get a job. But more importantly, speaking of, we have completed our degree. So now we have a degree at the engineering school, which will let us get science jobs for 2 knowledge less. I have all the knowledge in the world, so that's fine. But this is now done, so this is going to come out. So the cube comes, just to remind myself that I have that ability, I guess. I can leave the cube on it or not, it doesn't really matter. So I have room for more stuff. Is there a project or 2 that we could get going on? There's 3 projects that all require knowledge, and I have a ton of knowledge. So maybe we go on the game show. It's 6 long term, and we get $3 for it. Look, it's a one-timer, right? I don't have, I do have 2 creativity exactly. You know what? Screw it. I got so much knowledge right now. Let's go be a genius on a game show. Get $3 and 6 long-term happiness. Okay, why not? Cool. Okay, so 10 of my knowledge. I've got still another 10 left, I think. 10 knowledge, 2 creativity. So that's the last of my creativity, but I gain $3 and I'm broke right now. So rather than doing an odd job, I might as well get $3 for going on a game show and 6 long-term happiness. So 17. That's great. I'm gonna put this on spent time and get rid of the cube. that's just to remind myself. I'm going to keep that card around. Oh, we got this done too. So I'm just going to stack all of my projects to the end of the game. Okay, so new project comes out. That was a one-time project. That was a one-round project. Just spent a bunch of my knowledge, but I could do another one. Could start working on one. I could just get into sumo wrestling, which I just find amusing. That's so funny. There's an arts job. I can go to acting school. I just got a little bit of money and I have influence. But if I do that, every arts job I've seen so far doesn't pay very well, of course, because they're arts jobs. So I think we already have a degree. I don't think we need to work towards another type of job. It would make me more flexible, sure, but 3 knowledge and 5 creativity. Hold on. 4, 3, and 3. There's a domino show. And I could host a domino show in a stadium and get 4 long-term happiness for it. And all I need to do is go play once. So there you go. Maybe that's what I do. Because I don't have a job right now, so I'm trying to do the best I can with what I have. I could get an activity, but I mean, when long-term happiness is, I can get 4 long-term happiness. I can get to 21 just by doing that. On the other hand, let's look a little bit closer at learning a foreign language. If I become fluent ultimately, every step along the way I would earn that. So this card will be worth 9 victory points, 9 long-term health or happiness, if I complete the whole thing. And it only cost me knowledge, and knowledge I have, at least for now. But it's going to stick around a while, is the problem. I don't really want to eat up a spot, not when I'm about to get a job. And that job is going to eat up a lot. So I think I like that domino show because at least it's, I don't know. I'm just trying to think because I have 10 knowledge. I don't have any creativity. So I'd have to spend an action to get some creativity if I do it that way. I could invest some time to become close friends with Arthur and Melissa. It would create some knowledge and creativity every round, and then I'd be one step away from this goal of being best friends with no upkeep. That's a good avenue because that's 2 victory points every time I spend time with my best friends. So let's do that. I could spend action on interaction. I'm thinking I might spend 3 of my 5 available actions, maxing out my best friends this round, to avoid having the upkeep every round. But in order to spend time with them as best friends, I'm going to have to spend 4 influence every time? Are there jobs that give me influence? I don't think so. So projects do, some of them. But just doing one interaction gives me 3, but that's not enough to go visit with my friends either. No. Trying to decide what I want to do. That's a tough one. I get a little bit of AP in these situations, you know, but I'm trying not to because I know I'm on stream. So I'm trying to think myself out of a corner here. Oh, I dreamed. I didn't spend an action on it, but I dreamed. So I'll put my action on it now. So I only have 4 left. That changes things a little. Have at least 4 bucks. 2 items. Don't have any items out right now except for the group item. I could buy a couple filler board games, get a little short-term happiness. It's 2 bucks. I don't have enough money to do more than buying a couple fillers at the board game shop, board game sale. At the end of the round, when the board game sale ends, I will get an influence. That's an option, I guess. That's probably what I should do. Yeah, you know what? Alexander and I are going to go dine out at a greasy spoon. And it's going to cost me $1. And I will get 1 short-term happiness, and I'll be able to rest 1, which is important because I was at the top of my section there. So I now have 1 item and 1 activity, which allows me to begin planning, which I can do. That was hold on. Yeah. I can't do that. I can do it, but it's a dumb move to do that. Here's why. I have to forego dining at the greasy spoon. Give me my buck back. Go back up on the stress. Come down on short term. That comes back out. Okay, so I have retconned that. I can't do it because I'm at the top of my stress meter, and I've already spent money I've already spent money this round. If I spend money again, I'm going to take a stress. And that's going to pop me into the next level. And then I won't be able to get back down here again. Not without getting another heart, which are hard to get. So really, really don't want to do that. That doesn't mean I still can't plan an experience, but I just don't have the ability to do that without taking stress. Oh, well, that's not true. That's not true. I could take a rest action. Rest actions, I think, are just 1 level. I don't think it rests you all the way to the bottom of this section. I'm going to quickly check. Rest. Move your stress indicator up to 2 spaces. Up to 2 spaces. Oh, it must remain in its current space. Okay, yeah, so it goes to the bottom of the track. Okay, I'll spend an action resting. That brings me to the bottom of my section because it's the maximum movement of 2. Now I can afford to spend again and eat the stress. Then I can take the dine out action. I can spend the $1. And then I get the rest action for make it to reduce my stress again. But I also then get my short-term happiness. Now I do qualify. So now I can plan an experience. Yes. So we're going to plan to go to the Wakakusa Yamayaki oh, it's not a festival. That's just the name of the place. Okay, great. And I am going to essentially plan, which will give me another short-term happiness, which wasn't really the point. The point was to plan and have two happenings planned. Now I qualify for the next tier of my relationship with Alexandra, because now I have planned two happenings. So Alexandra, this is Alexandra as a reminder. We are dating Alexandra right now. I'm about to spend my last action on my relationship with Alexandra to move into a relationship with her. From here on out, while we're in a relationship, this time I will spend will always generate one short-term happiness for me, which is wonderful. Okay, so we're there. We're going to spend some time spending time with Alexandra. That's going to move me here. I have two happenings, so that is correct. And now I have three more knowledge coming my way. And two more influence. Cool. Okay. So I just signed myself up for some more upkeep, but that's okay. Worth it. Totally worth it. All right, end of the round. End of the round. We should finally, hopefully, get a job next round. And we should finally, hopefully, start being able to generate some more long-term happiness to get us down this track a little faster. So we'll see. We're still getting 7 hourglasses, so that's good. Would love to be able to get one more hard action. We should see if one comes out in one of these cards and go after it if it does. I still haven't done any trips. That's going to kill me. We're going to have to really focus on getting 3 trips done next round and the rest of the adult years. That's going to have to happen, or it's curtains, I tells you. Curtains. Okay. Yep. That's right. I was discarding those over there. And then don't have room on this table for all these discard piles. Okay, new projects. Hospitality school. Act in a play. I can be a tree in a play. That's amazing. Working out or light painting. Jazz club. I can go spend some time in a jazz club. I can get a pet llama. That's adorable. I can get a pet guinea pig. Or I can be the best man at a wedding. Oop, that's the job card. That's not going to help me. Okay, opera singer, archaeologist, judge, or a technician. Hey, look, it's a science job. 2 of them, in fact. And we can get science job for cheaper. They both are promotable. The archaeologist is kind of perfect. 2 time, though. Ow. I can be a tech or a resident doctor. Really? Well, here's a resident doctor. Only earns $6. The promotion track gets me to 9, but 6 would turn into 7 with my special ability. And if I manage to promote to a level 3 science job, or level 2 actually, I don't know. I think level 2 jobs generally all cost 2 time. I don't know that I'm going to get away from that. So does it make sense for me to do that? Or does it make sense for me to become an archaeologist instead and just bite the bullet? My upkeep, oh, I haven't finished anything yet, but I feel like archaeologist might be the way to go. I'd start getting $11 right away, which would be 12. Jobs. I'm pretty sure that a job you can just go straight into a job at level 2. Yeah, I think. Yeah, there's no prerequisite that says L1 job. So no, I can just start a job at the higher level. So I think we might go for that because a lot of what gets generated by my friendships and my partner would cover the upkeep cost of the archaeologist. So that might be net negative. Not quite. Oh, no. Yeah, other than the creativity, but I just had to get to be close friends with Arthur and Melissa. And I would generate even the creativity for that. Well, that might be the way to go. Okay, all right. Well, we haven't finished the setup yet, so I'm going to put them out because they're supposed to put them out, but I'm not going to switch my partner. I like my partner. Otherwise, why am I in a relationship with her? I'm guessing that the friends weren't supposed to cycle because I don't have enough cards for them to cycle, so that's all right. I'm not going to go after a bunch of friends anyway because that's a lot of upkeep I don't have the resources to maintain. And we got to get some trips done, which is good because there's 2 trips out. Yeah, okay. Okay, so we're up. Upkeep, speaking of. Upkeep 1 time with Alexandra gives me 2 knowledge, 1 influence, and 1 short-term happiness. And then upkeep for my acquaintance here is 1 of my influence gains me 1 knowledge. Quite the knowledge engine I got going on here. Any other upkeep? No, not yet. But we're about to have a job, so that'll change. We are in the next level of adulthood. Okay. We're ready to rock. Okay. So first things first, let's go get a job. Get job. Job requires 5, to get started in this science job, requires 5 knowledge, but we have a degree. The degree is going to make that 3 knowledge required instead of 5. Thank you, degree, for coming in handy. And then 2 creative, which we don't have, so we're just going to retcon and say we went and played for 3 creative first. Just kidding. Right. So we spent an action over there to do that. So we're going to spend 2 of our 3 creative. Oh, we have a short-term happiness. So we'll only spend 1. Great. And then 2 of our influence. Okay. We now have an archaeologist job. Hooray. For the benefit of getting that job, we now have $11. get to finally go on our trips. Okay, just like that, we now have 13 bucks. 13 bucks. So now we're cooking. Okay. New job comes out. It is a real estate agent. Well, that's not going to help me. That is a social job. Okay. From here on out, though, it's going to cost me 2 time to upkeep my archaeologist job. Okay. Did any, working out. Oh, let's check this out. Okay, hold on. This is working out. So I can spend time working out. And I can get ripped and finally get my next heart. That's a cheap way to get another heart. Just spend some time working out. I like that. Only 5 victory points, but it gives me that extra heart. How many times can I spend time on a single card in a given round? Anybody know? Right. Card actions, right? That's what they're called. Card actions. Card actions. Right. Well, it doesn't say that I can't. And I've seen other people play it that way too. You just keep spending time on one action over and over and again. Well, maybe I do that. I have 4 actions left. Ooh, I don't have enough. I couldn't get all the way, but I can get 1 action, 2 actions, 3, 4 actions. So I can get to core on the workout, which would be level 3. Next round, I can probably get to level 5 right away. It's kind of a bummer though, because I'd love to be able to get all the way there. But I had to get a job this round. But this is the last time I'm going to have this many I'm going to spend 3 hourglasses on upkeep next round. So I'm not going to have this much time ever again. If I'm going to do it, now's the time. I want to spend time with Arthur and Melissa, though. Because if I do that, I'll be 1 step closer to best friends. And I need the creativity. I need to be able to survive 2 rounds of old age. That's 9 levels of stress. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I technically can survive that right now. So I don't have to push hard on the workout. It would be beneficial that I get another hourglass. So maybe I become close friends with Arthur and Melissa next round. That might be the thing to do. Yep, okay, that's what we're going to do. We are going to spend 1 action on Arms Day, which is going to drop my short-term happiness by 1. But I gain an influence. We're going to spend another day, another set of time on working out Legs Day. So now I go up a point. I'm going to spend 1 more on workout, which costs me 1 additional time to do core, which gives me 2 more long-term happiness. So now we are at level 3 of our workout project. Next time I'll only have to spend 2, but then I will be ripped and I will finally be I'll be done with that project, first of all, and I can free that up for other things, but I'll be down into this 8 section for the rest of the game. That doesn't help me on the trips, though. So is that the right thing to do? I could travel, I guess, in my old age when I'm retired. Have at least one A project. Don't have that. What else is down here? Just want to make sure I'm not missing a trick. Those 2 trips are actually really hard to get. That's not really going to benefit me. The rest of them are happenings. So I think I might have to let that ride anyway. So this is the time to do that, what I just did. So yeah, I'm going to go with that. I mean, it was kind of a rushed round, but that's fine. I need to get that done. And that's really the only thing I have to do now is to do 3 trips. So next round, I might have to sacrifice something to wipe the experiences track if I don't have good trips, because I just haven't been able to find one. Is this a trip? That's a trip up there. Okay, well, that's one of the 3. If I can get that done. Okay, well, we'll see where we go. I might not get these trips done in time. That might be my undoing. But we'll see. We'll leave these 3 out. I'm not going to get any more friends, and I don't have any more friends cards. I guess I could shuffle the deck, but I don't have time to spend on friends anyway. So we're not going to worry about it. Okay. And all these items go away, and activities. Those go over here. That's right. And then this comes down there. Adulthood comes up 1. Last round of adulthood. Ruh-roh. So one way or the other, I'm going to have to take at least 1 trip every round till the end of the game, because I'm probably only going to survive 2 rounds of old age. Might get all 3, but I doubt it. Projects, spiritual growth, enlightenment. Where was that a minute ago? Because I have Zen as a thing, so that actually could have been great as a thematic pairing. Oh well. Right. We could go to a game convention. We could do some rock climbing. Oh, that was a nice one too. There's a health activity. That didn't show up until right now. That's all right. That's okay. That one costs money. I do have the money to spend, but I need to spend it on trips. So jobs, we have a Navy commander. Wow. Sub captain. A CEO, no, boring. Rugby player, Navy commander, or regular show, radio producer. That's an arts job, I think. Okay, well, that's fine. We have a good job. We like our job. No, that's right. Jenny goes over there. So who else we got coming out? Okay, well, like I said, we like our partner. We don't have a lot of long-term happiness going on at all. That's going to be tricky too. I got to get that going. Hopefully our trips can give us a lot of long-term happiness. There's only 1 trip. Have at least 1 C project. I don't have a C project. Are any C projects out? Yes. Develop a top secret recipe. So I could take that project. It would spend another action I don't really want to spend to develop an idea, which would get me a project that's done, which would let me plan the Great Wall. It's a cheap trip to go on, though. It only requires 3 knowledge. That I have. So that doesn't suck. We want to do some traveling this round. I have happenings out that are planned, but I don't want to spend actions on stuff that doesn't count towards my goal. So I think what's going to happen, let's do our upkeep first, let's not forget. We have to spend time with Alexandra, of course. So that's 2 knowledge and 1 influence and 1 short-term happiness. Hooray. But then we have to spend 2 time on our job and also spend a knowledge, a creativity, and an influence. But we earn another $11. We rolling in the dough now. Okay. But that only leaves us with 4 actions. So upkeep is done. We could go on that trip. We could do the cloud forest trip. We don't have the creativity right now, though. So what if instead what we do is we get ripped in the workout to finish the workout done. And then we take the develop secret recipe project. Oh, but it's not a one-time project. But it is, if I complete it, it's worth a lot. Wouldn't be a bad project to have. It's worth 10 victory points if I complete that project. And I need victory points really bad. So that's not a terrible thing. It's creativity, though. And I don't have a ton of creativity. Oh, there's learned cooking, though. Learned cooking requires knowledge and gives me creativity. And that's a class C or a type C project. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I like that. Okay. And it's also worth 10 victory points if I get it done. So that would solve the Great Wall too. Okay, so here's what I'm getting at. I need creativity to get to the Cloud Forest trip. I need to have a class or a type C project in order to qualify to plan the Great Wall trip. That's 2 of my 3 trips. That's planned, not experienced, but still. So we're going to spend 2 on our workout. One to spend time on the workout, and 1 for the cost of the level. And that is going to give us 2 long-term happiness, 22, and 1 heart. So the equivalent level is the top level of 8. So now we are here. So we're going to have 8 hourglasses next round as we head into the old age, the first old age. With our last 2 actions, we are going to, that's done, by the way. Now the workout is done, freeing up our slot. So we have 2 more actions. And then, so the workout's done. Okay. Okay, these go to spent time, and then that leaves us open. So now we're going to take a project, which is learn cooking. We'll put that tracking cube here, and I lose my short-term happiness to make instant noodles, but I gain 2 creativity. So now I have 3 creativity. Wonderful. I am now going to plan a trip. We're going to do the Great Wall. And I have a C project now, which is its prerequisite. So we're going to put that in planning stage, and we're going to gain a short-term happiness. Ta-da! Okay, so now we have 1 dream, 1 trip we're dreaming about. Oh, and that, by the way, got I think this is our 2nd year dreaming. So it's got 2 2 dream tokens on it. It'll get a third next round. So we'll be able to travel to China next round. And we will be able to, I could take a stress. I don't want to, but I could. I might have to, though. To get that last trip done, I might have to. Getting tricky. Getting tricky. How are we going to do this? Going to be real close. All right. All right. Let's call it. I think we're set up for, as long as we can get the third trip in this next round, I think we're going to be okay. We're doing okay here. We're at the 8th tier of stress. So heading into old age, we're going to be already up here, 1, 2, 3. So we'll be back up to 7, which is fine. We didn't get the 8, but we're not going to lose our energy either. We're going to basically be, I've done enough to not lose any hourglasses for next round. Okay. I'm going to take back all my hourglasses. We'll do upkeep in a minute. We'll leave them out. We'll leave them out. Not going to bother with those jobs, sure, but I don't think it's going to matter because I'm not going to retire. Or am I? Can I retire? I have money. Ooh, I might retire. Get my time back. Can I retire? How does retiring work? Stress track. Jobs. Overtime. Get job. Anybody remember who's played this game? Get a promotion. A level 3 job in your player gives you the option to go into retirement. That's all right. I could give up the job. I could just not upkeep it. But that's expensive. Do I not upkeep it? Is that an option I can take? Upkeep. Discarding a card. As a free action, 1 stress and 1 short-term happiness. During the action phase. Oh. Okay. During the action phase. After upkeep. All right. Well, I'm going to have to pay for it anyway. So maybe let's go through upkeep. Got to get these trips done, man. Let's go through upkeep. And maybe I do take the penalty to give up the job for the last round so that I can have some actions. Because I'm not going to have very many left. And if I'm spending 2 of whatever I've got left on my job at age 80 or 85 or whatever that is, that's just not a good idea. So even though I can't retire, I'm probably just going to give up the game. Give up the job, rather. Okay. Okay, experiences. Here goes. 1 happening. That's not good. Another happening. That's not good. Another trip. Ooh, there we go. Have at least $4. I can do that. And traveling to Mongolia. So that's the Altai Mountains. I can go to Mongolia. Oh, a trip to Taj Mahal. I have that too. And that's worth 2 victory points rather than, Mongolia is 2. But that earns me, going to India earns me creativity, where traveling to Mongolia gives me influence. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Well, we have options. We like our trips. That's good. Okay. Now let's get into upkeep because that's going to be the hard part. First and foremost, we go into old age, which is 3 stress. 1, 2, 3. We're still in here, but it also means we don't get 8, we only get 7 time. Fine. 7 time is better than 6, which is where we were, so we're okay. We're going to spend 1 on our relationship with Alexandra, which gives us 2 knowledge, and 1 influence, and 1 short-term happiness. We're going to spend 1 influence to gain 1 knowledge from our friends, or our acquaintances, rather. And our job requires 2 time, which eats 1 of our knowledge, 1 of our 3 creativity, 1 of our influence, yeah, and in exchange nets us 11 more dollars. Swimming in cash. Okay. Now it is the action phase, and before I take actions, I can discard cards. So I'm going to discard my archaeologist card. It's going to cause me to go up in stress, which is kind of a bummer. I don't know that I have a choice though. And it's also going to reduce my short-term happiness by 1. So my job is gone. I have quit my job. But that's okay. That's a problem for future me. And I still have enough headwind to survive going into old age, which is my 2nd requirement. So I have 4 actions remaining. Oh, and this dream token went on Cloud Forest, which is the maximum number I can have. I don't think I'm going to earn enough victory points. That's the end of the day here. We're going to see. We're going to see. I just don't have enough actions. Okay. But let's get our goals done at least. If we don't get enough points, that's fine. I'll lose the game from points. But I'd rather just say I got all my life goals accomplished. That's a good enough life for me, even if I lose the game. It's fine. That's just what losers say. No, it's just kidding. Okay, let's see. I have a dream out there, so I should plan that trip. Let's plan that trip. Okay. Yeah. We're going to plan this trip, and we're finally going to plan this Cloud Forest trip that I've been dreaming about my entire adult life. We're going to take the 3 desire tokens that are on it, and we're going to earn long-term happiness for each of them. So 1, 2, 3. And we're not able to do that right now. And why is that? Because we don't have enough creativity. Do I spend an action on that? Or do I instead spend some money to go clubbing? I should go clubbing in my old age. That's amazing. We spend $1 to go clubbing. It's an activity. This doesn't count towards that. So let's just say that we spent some money first to go clubbing. I would really prefer not to do that. But it is what it is. So we're going to do this activity. We're going to spend $1. I need the creativity. Yeah. We're going to spend $1. We're going to go clubbing. We're going to get 2. Well, that doesn't make any sense. Why would I go clubbing for 2 happiness when I can play for 3? So rather than spending my dollar, I'm going to play for 3 creativity, which seems like a kind of a cop-out, but that's just what I needed to do. Okay, now I can have taken the plan. So I did the play first, I did the plan experience second. It's kind of a bummer I had to burn an action on it, but I can't think of a better way to get the experience necessary, or not the experience, the creativity. It's just faster than doing anything else. So I guess I could have, well, wait a minute. Is there value in doing that now? I don't think so. All right, we're just going to go with that. We're going to go with it. We could have done something else, but that's okay. That's okay. Okay. We could have, well, no, hold on. That was silly. That was silly. I am going to take that back because I found a better way to spend this time rather than just playing. I'm going to spend more time on my learn cooking. I'm going to spend 2 of my knowledge to go to the next level, which is to cook a quiche. That gets me 2 creativity instead of 3 and a victory point, which I desperately need. That was a way better way to spend the time. Okay. Now I have enough creativity to start planning this cloud forest trip like I talked about. And I got a short-term happiness for that too, which is wonderful. Okay, now we have 2 trips in planning. Let's go take both of those trips. Do we have enough resources? I think we do. Let's take both of those trips. We're going to go Cloud Forest first because that's the one we've been dreaming about forever. It's going to cost us $2 and 3 creativity to go to Costa Rica. Oh, but it's a short-term happiness discount, so I'm going to save one of my creativity because those are harder to get. So now we've traveled to Costa Rica. We get 3 knowledge. Where's a 5? There's a 5. 5, take back 2. And 2 long-term happiness. 28 now. Okay, now do I want to extend it? I don't know. If I extend it, I get 2 more creativity, which would not suck. Because the Taj Mahal, is it? No, none of those really require it. I would get 2 more victory points if I extend it. That's really the important part. It's $1.04 influence. That's a lot of influence. But if I extend the Great Wall trip I'm about to take, then I'll get 2 of those back. I think it's worth it just to get as many victory points as I possibly can. So we're going to spend $1 and 4 of my influence. And we're going to get 2 more knowledge because we extended it. We went to the coast to coast trek. 2 knowledge, 2 creativity. That's important because I'm sure that's going to come in handy. I don't know why or where yet, but it will. And 2 more victory points. So now we're at 30. Okay. That trip is done. Okay. For our last action, we're going to go to the Great Wall. And we are going to spend a total of 7 of our knowledge. That's fine. We still have 11 left. And we're going to get a short-term happiness. That actually means that we get to save one of those because we actually had short-term happiness. We had 1 short-term happiness. Now we have 2. And that also means now, actually, if I take those in chunks, like I talked about, because travel to China costs 3 and walk on large segments costs 4. So the 3 was discounted by 1, which is 2. And the 4 was discounted by 2 because I gained another short-term happiness. So now that's 2. So I should actually get 1 more of my knowledge back. That was even cheaper to achieve. And for that, I get 2 of my influence back and 2 more victory points. Actually, a 3rd victory point because I didn't take the first one. So each of those sections costs, one gives me 1 victory point, the other one gives me 2. So now I'm at 33. This trip is now done. I have completed 2 of my required 3 trips, and I'm out of actions. Okay. Am I out of actions? Wait a minute. Yeah, that was my last action. That was my last action. Oh, God. What I just realized, and this is the nerve-wracking part, is that I didn't spend an action to dream of one of these 2 trips. And so now I'm at the mercy of the draw, essentially, to get a trip that I can actually achieve. Because I've only completed 2 trips and I failed to remember that I needed to secure one of these. Because I know I can get both of these done. Ooh, ruh-roh. Not all hope is lost because I think I have enough stress in the bank to be able to wipe this one time. So even if I don't get there, I think I have enough to wipe this one more time. Here we go. Last round, probably. I don't know that I'm going to get another round. I'm not going to wipe the rest of this because I'm not going to take those anyway. Well, that's not true. I may. So let's play it right. Let's play it right. We'll leave these guys, though, because I'm not going to mess with those. And I'm not going to get another job at this point in my life. But you never know. I might. It's true. It's true. Last round, though, most likely. So what do we get? Studio manager, interior designer, engineer, and tennis player. Wow, I made a mess of that, didn't I? Whoa, there we go. And then these activities go away. We get sightseeing, aqua aerobatics, record collection, and personal trainer. Those are all activities that I can attempt to do in my old age if I want to. Projects, yoga, visit the Space Center, star in an amateur film, or aerial yoga at age 90. It's amazing. Okay, moving into the next round, I go up 6 on the stress meter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I now have only 4 hourglasses, but I'm not dead yet. So, therefore, I have achieved my second life goal, which was to die after the second round of old age. I have survived into the second round. Therefore, if I die, it will be dying after the second round. And the only thing I have to do now is earn 26 points and take 1 trip. Okay, well, here goes. A Pride Parade happening. Sydney Opera House. I have the prerequisites for planning that trip. I don't have the prerequisites to take that trip. Notre Dame. I do have at least 1 C project, so I can plan that trip. I do have the creativity necessary to go on that trip. I don't have the creativity necessary to extend that trip. So we'd have to do something about that. And the Colosseum. Colosseum, all about knowledge and money and a little bit of influence. That might be hard. We'll see. But we're not doomed. I don't have to spend actions wiping this. So let's do our upkeep. 1 time for Alexandria. 2 on my knowledge. 1 on my influence. And 1 short-term happiness. Don't have a job, so I don't have to spend 2 on that. 1 of my influence for my friends. And that is 1 knowledge. Okay. Is that it? That's my only upkeeps left? That's it, because I got rid of my job, because I'm smart. Okay. Okay. Right. So it's all about the victory points now, because I can get one of these jobs done. I have 3 actions left. Yes, 3 actions left. And I need to plan a trip. That's not there. No, yes, I'm at 4. Yeah, that's right. Okay. So I need to plan a trip, and then I need to travel. So that's 2 actions for the trip. I think the Colosseum might be our best bet, because the rest of the trips require a lot of... So here's the Colosseum. I have at least 4 knowledge. I qualify for that. If I spend 5, I have plenty to spend, and 2 influence, which I have, then I can get 4 victory points, a short-term happiness, and a creativity. That's probably my best bet. So we're going to plan that trip first. Trip comes out. Colosseum's down here. I'll put it here because I don't think it won't matter. I'm going to have it done in a minute. You guys can at least see it that way. So I get a short-term happiness for planning that trip. Boom. So now I'm at +2. That's great. Get a tracking cube. We have planned that trip. Now we're going to spend an action to travel to Italy. And we're going to extend the trip and travel the path of the gladiators. So this one gets a discount. I'm going to discount, well, they both do, don't they? Oh. I'm going to have a +3 short-term happiness in a moment, because I had got 1 from Alexandra. I got 1 for planning the Colosseum trip. I'm about to get 1 for traveling to Italy. So let's do that. So I'm at +2. So that means I get a -2. I'm not gonna pay the influence at all because I have so little of it. So I'm going to pay 3 of the knowledge. And then I get the 3rd short-term happiness and 2 victory points, 35. I'm going to pay do I pay the dollar? Yeah, I got the money. In fact, I could do all that for free. They're all resources. Money and knowledge are both resources. So because I'm at +3, I get to not spend any money, any resources at all for Path of the Gladiator. So I get 1 creativity and 2 victory points, 37. That completes this trip. That completes my 3rd life goal. I'm at 37 points. Now I have 1 action left, and it won't be a big one probably. Let's see if there's a project that I can do. Let's see, is there a project I can do that's going to get me a lot? Not in 1 action. I only have 3 influence. So I could visit the Space Center and get 1 victory point and spend 2 of my influence to do it. I do have a +3 though. So 3 plus 3 is 6. It's still not quite enough influence. So here's what I'm looking at, just so you guys can see it. If I could somehow get to talk to the astronauts, I would be able to get 3 victory points for that. And I'd be at 40. Unfortunately, I can only come up with a total of 6 because of what it's requiring. And all of the other projects, I'm not going to survive the next round. I'm going to pass away at the end of this round because it adds 9 stress. There's just no chance. So, do I spend the energy to wipe? Because I have the short-term happiness and I have the stress. So I could wipe the project row. What is the actual cost for that? Take a project, single, basic, spend, temp, get a job, card actions, reset, rest, overtime, start a relationship, participate in a project, opt for an upgrade, develop a project, stress track. I swear I saw it. Refresh cards. You may choose to lose 1 short-term health or happiness to discard any number of cards from a single row and immediately replenish them. Before taking an action. Well, I think that's silly. I think I should do that. I'm going to spend a short-term happiness that goes from +3 down to +2. We're going to wipe the projects row. All 4 of them. Don't like any of them. I'm going to see 4 more cards. See if I can't get not a single one. Oh, man. Do I do it again? Oh, man. When I take a project, can I go to the level that I want? Or do I have to go I think I have to get a project and then start at level 1. I don't think I have a choice. Yeah. Yeah. That's a bummer. Okay, so I can't just rush a project all in 1 action. I have to spend actions to do it. So 1 action isn't going to help me there. I don't know that there's really anything else to do. I'm just going to go again. I'm going to go down to 1 short-term happiness. And I'm going to go again, see if I can't. I need victory points, as many as I can get. I don't think it matters. Oh, there's 1. I think I can do that. Okay, all right. I can play the Easter egg games and do an egg on the spoon race. For 6 knowledge, I have the knowledge. For 4 creativity, I have the creativity. I also have a -1 resource bonus because I have 1 short-term happiness remaining, and I get 6 victory points. So we're going to do that. Egg on spoon. So 6. We're going to spend 3 of the creativity instead of 4 because I get 1 discount and I get 6 victory points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 43. I don't think it's going to be enough. But you never know. Stranger things have happened. Okay, that is the end of the game. I took a project for my last action. What does end of game look like? It's been a minute since I've done end of game on this game. Yeah, as soon as an in-game life for each player has come to an end, the end of the game is triggered. Nevertheless, you only proceed to the end of the game at a specific step during the preparation phase, and anytime during the upkeep phase, or as soon as the resolution phase is ended and the round has been played in its entirety. Okay. So what that means is I will have gone through the prep phase. When exactly do you move up on the track? Because that will depend on what phase this happens in. I don't think it matters, but when do you go up in? Yes, okay. When the round marker, let's see, advance the round marker. That's the first thing you do in the preparation stage. Preparation phase. Before even upkeep, you move the round marker. So that's what I figured. Okay. Okay. So that's that. End of game. Because I would have, the first thing I do is advance into old age, and I can't take the stress, and so I pass away. Okay. Okay. For every 5 resources of the same type, and for every 5 money that you have remaining, gain 1 long-term health. 5 resources of the same type. Well, I have 7 knowledge, so I go up 1 for the 7 knowledge. I have only 3. I have only 3 influence, so that doesn't net me anything. I only have 2 creativity, so that doesn't net me anything. Now, money. I have a lot of money. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So that is 6 victory points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And just like that, I hit the 50 required to beat the game. There's only one trouble with that. I don't actually win, I don't think. Yeah, I don't actually win, and the reason why is I chose to play with the experience module included, the expansion of experience included. And the game specifically says in the rule book that when you play with experiences included, the target becomes 60, not 50. So I would have had to earn 10 more victory points to technically win the game. I did reach 50, which is the base game solo requirement, and I did complete all of my life goals. So I would have won had I not been playing with the experience expansion. But technically, I lost. But that's okay. This was a cool life lived. So let's recap, because I'm very curious. I did a little planning to do a couple things, but I never really went to these festivals. But regardless, I was a productive kid. Growing up, I went to engineering school as a young adult and got my degree in engineering, which then for some reason let me have a career as an archaeologist, but maybe I was doing archaeology engineering, I don't know. Right, and then let's see, I went on a game show and I was considered a genius on that game show. I had a long career essentially in obstacle courses and eventually put on my own ninja fighter show. I became ripped in my older age and got really healthy because of that. Even so much so that later on, when I was almost about to pass away from old age, I participated in an egg on a spoon race in an Easter egg game. That should tell you something. I didn't do a whole lot in terms of activities. We dined out a little bit. We lived a pretty quiet life. I dabbled in graphic drawing with a tablet for a little while, but mostly I spent my time traveling. We traveled and we spent a lot of time in Costa Rica in the Cloud Forest. We spent a lot of time in China on the Great Wall, and we spent a lot of time in Rome in the Colosseum in and around Italy. We just traveled a lot. And I dabbled a little bit in cooking along the way too. I was starting to learn to cook. Best I ever cooked was a quiche, but you know, that's not too bad. That's not a bad life at all. So there you go. There's the pursuit of happiness in all of its glory. Not all of its glory. It's got a lot of expansion content. If you liked what you saw, if you thought this was a really cool, fun system to play with, I strongly recommend you check it out. I really enjoy the multiplayer game as well, which I don't often say. I sometimes find games like this to be really cutthroat, but it's really not at all. This game is, there's so much movement and change. There's always something to take advantage of. I really, even the solo game is great. The multiplayer game is great. There's so much amazing expansion content over the years for this game. Like I said at the beginning of the stream, Artipia took really, really good care of this game, and really spent time to get those expansions dialed in right so that it wouldn't lopside the game. You just have so much content to see. There's so many cards. There's so many different things that just vary up the game from game to game so much. It's one that will never leave my collection. It is a classic. It's probably in my top 20 games of all time just because of how well it's balanced. I don't play it nearly as often as I should. I enjoy it a lot every single time I play it, and I know that you will too if you like this kind of game. So that's about all for me this time around. So thank you again for joining me at the table on this wonderful Sunday. I hope to see you again next week. I am mere followers away, just a few scant numbers away from qualifying for Twitch affiliate. So if you feel so inclined, please give me a follow. And otherwise, you can see these recordings on my YouTube channel. They go up probably within 12 hours of me finishing stream every week. So check me out. Just look for my handle there, and you'll find me. And otherwise, we'll see you next week. Thank you again, and take care. Bye-bye.